know, I've been trying to think of something to say related to the burning boat, but nah, I got nothing. Broadchurch, episode 4, continuing down this particular journey. So this episode opened with the burning boat, which we still don't really have the full details on what's going on. With that, the investigation deepens. We find out some unpleasant things about another member of the town, which I have a feeling is going to kind of be the MO of the show as a whole. And then we're also getting pointed towards a few other people who, if not are directly involved, obviously have stuff that they want to hide. And that's, overall, that seems to be becoming the motif of the show, which is not just the death of Danny and the investigation into that and what happened to him, but also all the things that people don't want to be uncovered that will be over the course of an investigation as thorough as the death of a child. So the sort of things that under normal circumstances, and very clearly from how Ellie Miller acts in regards to the townspeople, it's very obvious that the relationship between the police and the town up to this point has been, oh, well, that we don't have to worry about that if it wasn't directly related to whatever they were dealing with. Well, now everything matters. There isn't an obvious answer, so they have to dig into everything, and everybody seems really nervous. And that's where we get to Jack, played by David Bradley. Spoilers, should know that. Who was the news agent. And so we find out that they paint it in very vague terms. They say he had an encounter with an underage, sex with an underage individual. We don't know if it was a boy or a girl. We don't know how young they were. We don't know, if he got it on with a 16-year-old or an 11-year-old. And I have to wonder if how vague they're keeping it. I figure it's got to do with one of two things. Either it's because that level of detail the show just didn't want to get into because it's kind of icky. Or if it's because they're trying to keep it intentionally vague just to muddy the waters all the more. And it obviously happened a very long time ago because it predates the sex offender registry, which puts it in the neighborhood. I mean, I don't know when the sex offender registries went up in the UK, but if it's parallel to the US at all, that puts it, 30 years plus. So, but he's the latest sort of favored suspect. But again, we're 4 episodes into an 8-episode series, so I'm thinking it's probably not him, although we're far enough in that I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow factors into it. Like, where my head went is if not his, the victim he was actually caught with, if somebody that he messed around with and messed up as a result of that is somehow a player in this. If the damage that he did to someone when they were younger affected them in a way that has led to this other thing. I wouldn't be shocked by that. I'm not sure how much weight I put on it because there was a lot of emphasis on this happened before he came to this town. And given the impression that we're given that most people in this town were born in this town and don't leave this town, maybe not. But that's sort of where my head went as, I mean, I say obvious, and the way my mind works, the obvious direction to go in terms of how that ties into everything else. And kind of like I said, we're kind of just finding a town of not good people, which, is probably most towns on the planet if you dig deep enough. So, Mark, yeah, I'm still annoyed with him with this, and I still feel like they have failed to justify him not cooperating with the police over something as basic as an affair. I'm still annoyed with that, especially because he didn't even seem excessively shaken up when his wife, when Jodie Whittaker, said to him, I know about it. She said at a point where, he was going to have to sit in front of a camera anyway, and I'm sure that was done on purpose so he wouldn't make a huge scene. But even, that moment before he went on camera and had to keep it together, just looking at him going, you look upset, frustrated, you don't look devastated. by this. So, again, whether that's a fault of the writing or a fault of the acting, or is going to get covered, and I'll feel better about it by the time the show ends, don't know. We'll see. I feel like there's a number of things that were hinted at as things that matter that have yet to show up again. So, I'm keeping an eye out for them, mainly having to do with Danny's friend, and there was mention of the computers and how good they were on computers. So that's gonna come back up, I'm sure. The other thing, I think the thing I found most interesting about this was something that actually, as it was happening, I loved, and then the show itself pointed it out, and I resented the show for that, because I was like, yeah, I saw that on my own. Don't patronize me. So I was really enjoying watching Miller shift in her dynamics with the people in the town. Just the way she was talking to them, the way she was questioning them. I forget right now who it was she was talking to, but they were talking to somebody, and she was just starting to do the rapid fire questions thing that David Tennant's character does. And I remember thinking she's seeing them less as her neighbors and more as people of interest, as witnesses, as potential suspects, and this is the start of things changing for her. And then it actually gets pointed out. She says, I hate how I'm becoming more like you, she says to Tennant. I'm like, ah! Yeah, I know! Show! I saw that on my own. Don't... Oh. Like, that's a line, that's a moment that annoys me because it shows a lack of faith in the audience for them to get it based off a really good interaction that you had prior to that. So that irritated me. That's it. It's a character development I really like. It's just that, you know, signposting it on principle annoys me. We're learning a little bit more about Tennant's character, that he's divorced, that he has a kid. He's obviously got some serious damage. Like, initially I thought it was just gonna be shaken up. He has like PTSD or something. But it really does look like he might have a serious physical health issue, which I hadn't counted on. Didn't see that coming. Not entirely sure how that'll play out. Again, it's still balancing pretty well the character drama and the elements of the mystery coming forward. Oh, I hate this reporter. I hate that she talked this family into giving an interview and becoming front page news. Oh, I hate her. I hate this reporter so much. And the psychic keeps coming back, and I'm leaning towards he thinks it's real. I mean, those are the options. You know, either he is a complete scam artist, in which case he seems overly dedicated to this, and he seemed overly shaken up when he got turned away, or he is unbalanced and genuinely believes what he's saying, even though to back it up he resorts to crap like cold reading, which I mentioned last time. So yeah, that's where I'm leaning, and I'm wondering how that's going to factor in. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being the killer, honestly, because if it is a mental imbalance thing. But of course, we've got all these other people that there's obviously weird stuff going on. There's the other plumber, there's the house cleaner. So there's obviously a whole lot of other crap that's going to be uncovered in the next 4 episodes or so. And I'll be curious to see. I don't want the uncovering of individual people's BS to overtake the mystery, because I'm still intrigued by the mystery. But again, so far it's still balanced pretty well. I'm just nervous that the cart's gonna tip one way or the other pretty soon, and the priest is gonna have damage. There's gotta be something messed up about him. I don't know what. It'll be something. I'm calling that right now, because he's like one of the only lead characters we keep coming back to where it doesn't seem like he has an issue. And I'm like, nope, not in this show, not in this town. So we'll see what happens. So Broadchurch, episode 4. Those are my thoughts. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all the stuff to do, such as support me on Patreon, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. I got podcasts, maybe. I might be on hiatus. I'm recording this well in advance. I got t-shirts. I know I got those. Links for all that stuff and more is down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.